Today we're diving into the Hack the Box machine called Editorial. The Linux box marked easy but packed with clever tricks and intriguing vulnerabilities that will exploit step by step. In this video, I'll walk you through each phase of the hack from the initial access to the privilege escalation. And here's something to look forward to. A part 2 will be all about turning this walkthrough into a detailed report. I'll also try to reach out to one of the pros like Gar7 or Tiberius or Tyler Ramsby to get their take on the video report, covering the good, the bad, and the ugly. So if you're interested in exploring both the technical and the reporting side of pen testing, make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned. If you're new here, I'm Chris Alupalui, a cyber enthusiast who went from zero to hero in 3 months, balancing a full-time job and family to pass the Hack the Box's CBBH exam. Now let's jump into the editorial and get started. Now that we got the IP address, let's go ahead and do a simple Nmap scan. And what I like doing is this with these flags, and we're gonna run it and save it in the Nmap scan file. And here's the IP address. So we'll let that run. And again, I'll show you on the screen what these flags indicate so that you know what they are going forward. And it looks like Nmap finished here. So it's showing us 2 ports that are open, 22 TCP for SSH on Ubuntu Linux. And then we have here 80 TCP, which is HTTP on Nginx on Ubuntu. And the interesting part here is the HTTP title is being redirected to the editorial.hackthebox. So we never put that into the Etsy host. So let's do that now by sudo nano Etsy host. And then we'll go down here, throw it in, and then put editorial.htb for hackthebox. And then we'll save it by Control O, hit enter, and then Control X to exit out of Nano. If you're ever confused about the commands for Nano, they are shown here at the bottom. Now let's go ahead and from here we'll clear it. Before we go to the website, let's go ahead and do some enumeration for subdomains, and we'll be using Ffuf scan for that, so that it can run in the background while we dive into the website. So what I like doing is I'll do here a Ffuf, and here are the flags that I like using for the Ffuf scan. And again, I'll show you on the screen what these flags are indicating, but we'll let that run. And we can see here, we're just getting a bunch of nonsense. And so we need to filter this out. And by doing that, we'll do Control C to stop it. And let's clear it so we can get some nice clean output. We'll go back to the command, and then I believe, let's see, 178 it was. So let's go here, go at the very bottom, and let's see, yes, 178. So we're gonna do the FS flag to filter the size for 178. So we'll let that run, and that's going to take a while, but we're in no rush because now we can actually go to the website. So before opening Firefox, let's open up Burp Suite. We'll get that started. Here we go. All right, now jumping into Firefox. And from here, let's go HTTP, and it was editorial at hackthebox. Okay, here we go. Now the goal is pretty much just to see how well built this website is. How many pages are built out, pretty much. So here's some links, but you can see in the bottom left that these pages aren't built out at all. There is an input field for an email address with a subscribe button. and there is a field for the search. So that's interesting. Let's take a look at the About Us. All right, we're going to copy that email just so we can have it in our notes. But I'm not seeing anything else on this. So let's go ahead and take a look at the source code, see if there's anything that we're missing. But let's see here. I'm not seeing anything really. So it looks like that's a dead end. Let's take a look at the image as well, see what path that is. Okay, so here's something. Let's see if we can try to see if we can get into the folders. It doesn't look like we were able to access that. All right, so moving forward, last but not least, the publish with us. Okay, so here we go. This is something. So we're getting a lot more information here. And it looks like, right, we can publish our book. Please provide next information to meet you. So we have a few fields here. First thing is a cover URL related to your book or blank. Okay. There is a file upload. There's a preview button, and there's some filters, some fields here. So I think we have a lot of different attack vectors. Obviously these fields, maybe there's some XSS attack vectors that we can try. And then obviously the browse and selecting a file, that's probably a file upload attack vector we can try. But one thing that stands out to me is the fact that there is a URL related to your book. So that's kind of standing out a lot more than the file upload and the XSS. And I could be completely wrong. The URL might be a rabbit hole as well. But what's jumping out to me is that feels like it's a more of a tip than the other ones. The other thing I'm noticing is that there's also two buttons, the send book info and the preview button. So I'm wondering which one of these would be the right attack vector. Let's go ahead and take a look at the page source and see what's going on behind the scenes. So let's scroll through. All right. There's a search placeholder. There's that image. Okay, let's take a look at this. Okay, just a blank image. All right. Oh, that's the image for that. That's what that is. Okay. All right, so let's go back. Button cover preview button. Okay, button. And then it looks like here's a script. Okay. I'm actually going to copy that, save that to my notes. Let's take a look at it. Button cover function, some form data, sending some form data for the cover. And it's doing a post request to this API endpoint, the upload cover. Okay, it's giving back a 200 status. So it's asking us for a source for an image URL. So image URL, and then the other form datas are book file, book URL, and they're both blank. Okay, so very interesting. So that, I think that might be an attack vector that we're looking for then. The post to the upload cover with the image URL. So let's see if there's anything else. Form for the upload, multi-part form data. Okay, book name, placeholder values are empty. And it looks like these are just, I think these are for the submit button. All right, so let's go back to the site and let's see. Let's actually go into Burp Suite and let's play around with it. We'll go top left, proxy, turn on intercept. We'll go back to the website and let's test this out. Test, test. Test, 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 test. Send book info. Oh, it's asking us for An email address. Okay. All right, let's take a look. See if I can make this bigger. So I'm going to send this to repeater so I have it just in case. So it's doing a post request to upload. And here's the form data, book name. Okay, book intro, test, yes, yes, email, phone number. Okay, let's forward that and see what comes out of it. And it looks like the request is to this image. So it's doing a get request to the image. Interesting. I'm going to send that to repeater as well. I'm going to forward it. Let's go back in here and see what's going on. Not modified. Okay. Let's try sending this one again and rendering it. Interesting. Okay. So I don't think that does anything. I'm not seeing it doing anything. Okay. The thing that stood out was the URL. So let's see if we can test the URL for SSRF before we start rabbit holing into the file upload or the cross-site scripting. And let's do that by going back into our Kali Linux terminal, and it looks like our Ffuf scan finished, but nothing came out of that subdomain. So let's clear that, and we'll do another Ffuf scan, and this time we'll do for directories. So let's do that for the directory. And again, I'll show you on the screen what these flags indicate, so you know what they are going forward, and we'll let that run in the background. Now we can go ahead and open up a new pane. And then from here, let's do a netcat listener for 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll go back into the website. And let's see if this web app will be able to reach out to our netcat. If it can, then that means there's SSRF, an attack vector for that. So let's do HTTP, and then we'll look in the top right for the VPN IP address that we have, 10.10.14.2. And we're not going to do any files or anything. We'll do test email, test phone. And now we have an option between these two. Now let's go back to burp just to make sure. Okay, intercept is still going. Sending me random stuff. All right. Let's try this and see what's going on. Okay, we sent that through the upload, post to upload API. Not seeing the IP address. I don't think that worked. And it came back with a get request for the image. Okay, so if that doesn't work, then let's try the preview button. So test. All right. And now we'll try preview. Okay, we're making progress now. So this request is a post request to the upload cover. And remember, going back into our source code, that's what we were looking at for this attack vector in this script. So that makes sense. And we are getting our IP address here. Let's go ahead and send that to repeater so we can play around with that some more. And then we'll forward it to see if it reaches out to our netcat. It did not reach out to our netcat. So let's go back into Burp Suite. We'll go up here in the top to repeater. So we can start messing around with this request and see exactly where did I mess up. So we're making a post request to the endpoint upload cover. And it looks like here the form data is the book URL. And the form data is the book file. And in the book URL, here's the URL. And in the book file, it looks like it's empty. But we're also missing our port number. So let's go ahead and put our port and then send that again. And it looks like that went through. We're getting an HTTP 200 OK. And it looks like the response we're getting back is this image, the unsplash image, which I believe, if we go back to the website, I believe it's this image right here. Let's see, open image in the new tab. Yep, 16307. So it is that. Okay. All right, let's check our netcat now. We got a hit on our netcat. So that means that field itself is vulnerable to SSRF. So the web app, through the web app, we're able to reach our netcat listener and get a request. And that's awesome. So it looks like this is the right path that we're going to start working our attack vector on. We're going to forget about the file upload, unless this is a rabbit hole, which I don't think so, since it is an easy box. I don't think this is a rabbit hole. I think the file upload and maybe the other fields are, but so we're making progress here. Let's continue doing that. So let's clear it. Check the Ffuf scan. Looks like we didn't really get anything for Ffuf. So I'm going to go ahead and clear that as well. And then from here, let's figure out how we can start attacking that vector. Let's take a look. So we're sending two form datas. And we're doing a post upload cover. Two form datas and IP. Okay. Let's go ahead and I'm going to cd hack the box editorial, clear it. And then what I typically like doing is I actually like curling this and seeing if it works. But before we curl to test it, let's go back and run a netcat again. Now to start crafting our curl command, what I like doing is using these flags. And again, I'll show you on the screen what this information indicates so that you know going forward what it is. And if I send this curl command, we're going to get back a failed to open read local data from file application. And the reason for that is because we're doing an X flag for post, using the F flag for the data, and it's actually looking for, in the book file, it's looking for the file grass. Now, if in editorial we ls, we don't have any grass. So what do we need to do for us to be able to send this file? We have to touch some grass. And now if we ls again, we have a file of grass. So we can go ahead and clear it and now go back into our curl post and send it and see if that works. And it looks like that came back with the exact same response request that we got from Burp Suite, which was the static image for the unsplash. Now we can go back to our netcat and see if it works, and it does work. So our curl command works. We did get a hit on netcat, so that's awesome. So let's clear that and then go back here, and we'll also clear this, and let's start crafting this attack vector and seeing where we can go from there. So we'll go back to the curl, and instead of curling the netcat server that we were trying to reach out for, let's see if we can reach an internal IP and start looking to see if there's any exposed ports locally. So we'll do 127.0.0.1, and then we'll do port, I don't know, 500 and 555. So let's see what it happens when it does that. And it looks like we're getting the exact same thing. We're getting the status image, but what's nice is it looks like it is hitting the local IP address and port. So that's awesome. So from here, let's do, I don't know, 554. Okay. 252. Okay. We need to figure out how to write a script now, because there's a lot of ports, and I don't think anybody wants to do this manually, right? So essentially what we're trying to uncover is to see if any ports that we're trying to hit through this SSFR gives us any other response other than the unsplash image. So we need to start crafting a script for that. So since we started down the path of curl, might as well start crafting a bash script. So let's go ahead and start the bash script now. So I'm going to clear it and now start working on the bash script. All right, jumping into the bash script that I made, let's go ahead and take a look at it and see what it's all about. So we'll nano port scan.sh, and here we go. We have a bin bash, a shebang for bin bash, and it creates an empty file, the grass. We've already done that, but just in case, we have that on here. And now we can define the base URL. And here's the editorial.htb for the API endpoint upload cover. And now we're going to start looping through. So this section here for port in the sequence 1 to 10,000, it's going to take this response and curl the grass file that we made, the empty file, which this curl command right here is essentially the curl command that we did to test with our netcat. So we're curling it, and we're now testing the local IP address 127.0.0.1, and here is the port that the sequence, the for in sequence, is going to start looping through. And here's the base URL that it's going to target. So once that's going to go through all the way from 1 to 10,000, it's going to display the response with the port number, and that's going to echo into the terminal with the response. And once that's all done, the for loop is all done, it's going to echo that the port testing is complete. So let's go ahead and save that to the portscan.sh and then exit. And before we run it, we actually have to chmod plus exit. And again, I'll show you on the screen what that's all about. So we'll do that. And from here, we can start. Let's clear it to keep it nice and clean. Let's run the port scan. And it looks like that's just a bunch of mess. So we go ahead and Control C, stop it. So we don't have to deal with that jargon. We do need to update the script though. So let's clear it and go back into the bash script and filter out this response here. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to pretty much readjust the bash script to filter out this particular response and to output anything other than this response. So let's clear it and let's do that now. All right, finishing that update, let's go ahead and take a look at it. We'll nano back into the port scan. So not a lot has changed. The sections that did change is, like I mentioned before, in the for loop, what we've added is if the response isn't this image, then display the port number response. So we're pretty much just simply filtering out the static images and for it to display any ports that are not of that. So let's go ahead and save that and see exactly if that works. So let's clear it, keep it nice and clean, and let's go ahead and send that. It may have been beneficial to add some type of code into the bash script to let us know how far along the script is running, maybe a progress bar of sorts, but we're going to follow the KISS method to keep it simple, stupid, and we're not going to worry about that. All we care about is there an open port available or not? We're hoping through this SSRF attack vector that we're able to uncover an open port locally that Nmap is not able to find out on itself. So some people may be shaking their heads and thinking, Chris, why did you go down the bash script route? You could have done it a number of different ways. And I totally agree. You could have done it with Burp Suite. You could have done it with Kaido. Could have even Ffufed it or done a Python script. There are a lot of different ways of doing it. But here we are. We're doing it with the bash script. So I'm going to speed this up and then we'll go from there. Here we go, and our bash script finished. And it looks like what it's showing us is that port 5000 is being exposed. And we're getting a different response this time. We're not getting the .jpeg. We're getting a static uploads. And it looks like some obfuscated file name. So we're going to copy that. And now that we know that port 5000 is open, let's go ahead and clear this and start curling the port 5000 and see if there's any type of other obfuscation in terms of that. So let's curl the port 5000 again and see if it's different from the one that we just copied here. Let's go curl, and we're doing the port 5000 right here. So let's send that and see. And it looks like they are different. Let's try sending it one more time. And it looks like it is being obfuscated. So that's interesting. So there may be some type of race condition here with this endpoint. So I'm going to copy this and see if we can figure out how to curl that file. Let's do curl HTTP. And then here we go. We'll do, instead of the uploads, we'll do this. So it looks like it's coming back of not found. So that means that we need to be a little quicker with this. So let's clear this up and start over, and we'll take it step by step. So we'll curl the port 5000. And once we make that request, we're going to copy the output and then curl it onto the editorial website to see if it can pull any new information from there. So let's do that. We'll send it. We'll quickly copy this. And then we'll curl HTTP. And then from here, we'll just paste this in. And it looks like we did get back something. We got back this message. And it looks like this is JSON. So let's clean this up so we can have it be able to be more readable. And the way we'll do that is we'll actually pipe it in through JQ. So let's do that next. And most likely it's probably gonna it's probably going to have already switched files. So let's clear and start over. And then we'll go here back into the port 5000. So we're curling the post request for 5000. We're going to copy it, and then we're going to curl the editorial with the information that we copied from. So let's go back and do it. Okay, here we go. Copy it, curl HTTP, and then we'll throw it in there. And then here we'll pipe it into JQ, and I'll show you on the screen what JQ is. And it looks like I failed that. So let's attempt that once more. And we'll go in. And there we go. So we got some new output, and let's take a look at it now. So here we go. We have a description, an endpoint, and the method to get methods. So let's take a look. API latest metadata messages, promos, coupons, authors, how to use this platform, change log, and the metadata, retrieve the latest version of API. Okay, very interesting. So I'm wondering if this is for the editorial. The endpoint is for the editorial. Let's take a look and figure this out. So I'm going to copy this, and we're actually going to leave this on this pane and open up a new one. CD into hackthebox editorial, clear it to keep it nice and clean. And let's see if we can do, let's see if we can curl that API endpoint. And it looks like there's nothing to be found on this API endpoint. Okay, so I guess the endpoint is not going to be on the editorial, then most likely it might be on the local host on the port 5000. So let's clear it and test it out on that. So we'll go back through our commands, and then we'll go here on the 5000. We'll paste it, and let's see if that comes back with anything. Okay, so it was successful. We did get back something, and it looks like it's another obfuscated file with, most likely it's going to be something that we have to JQ again. So let's go ahead and do this. I probably was too slow. I was. Okay. So let's try it one more time. Copy and paste. And here we go. And it looks like we're getting an invalid numerical literal at line 1. Okay, so we're not getting anything. So maybe this endpoint, there's nothing to it, but I don't want to just keep beating this dead horse. So let's move on and see if there's any other ones that work. So we tried the first one. Let's try the second one. See what's going on with that. Coupons. So we'll clear this. And we'll start that attack again. And then here we'll change this to that. Whoops. Okay. API latest coupons. So now we're doing coupons. And it came back with another obfuscated file, probably a JSON. We're going to post it. We're going to curl it. And then we're also going to pipe it through JQ. And we did get back something here. Okay, so this is information disclosure. We're getting some type of contact emails and some other information to anniversary to 4. So I'm going to copy this, throw it into my notes, and so we can keep track of it. But Not really seeing anything other than the fact that they're emails, and maybe these are passwords, but we don't know yet. So let's go back into the other pane and let's go down. All right, the next one, since we did that one, the next one is the authors. Retrieve the welcome message, send it to our new authors. Okay, so let's go back and do that one. So we'll go up into our commands, and here, keep making the same mistake. We'll send that. We got back another obfuscated file, which I'm going to copy, curl to the editorial, and pipe it through JQ to make it readable. And here we go. We got another file. So template mail message. Welcome to the team. We are thrilled to have you on board and can't wait to see the incredible content you'll bring to the table. Awesome. New line. Your login credentials to our informal forum and authors site are, oh, here we go. Username dev, password dev. Okay, here we go. Password is, let's see, let's copy this. Here's the password all the way up to the new line. The dash here, N is the new line. So we're just going to copy that password, and it looks like the username is dev, and here is the password. Please be sure to change your password as soon as possible for security purposes. New line. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions or ideas. We're always here to support you. Best regards. Okay, since we got that, let's go ahead and clear it and see if they followed the advice in the email and changed their password or not. So most likely they probably didn't change their password. So let's clear it, and we're going to SSH as dev into the editorial hackthebox, and then we're going to enter in that password, and there we go. We system breached the web application. We got in as dev at editorial with the password. So that's awesome. So from here, let's go ahead and clear, and then do a typical sudo L, and I'll show you on the screen why we use sudo L. It's pretty common, but let's go ahead and do that. Paste in our password and see what comes out of that. And in this case, it says, sorry, user dev may not run sudo on editorial. So that sucks. So we need to figure out another way, either to move laterally in this server, or we need to figure out a way of priv escalation. But since we don't have sudo L, we don't have any way of doing it through that. We probably will need to do some lateral movement, or maybe download linps on and see if there's anything that it can pick up. So let's go ahead and clear from there. But before we do any of that, let's take a look around the files and see the structures. So we'll do an ls and then cat the user. And if you're following along, there's the user flag that you can submit to the hackthebox. And from here, we'll go and let's clear it, keep it all nice and clean, and do a tree. It looks like tree's not installed on here. That sucks. So let's clear it and cd into app. I think it was app, right? cd into apps. All right. cd into apps. And let's take a look to see what's in apps. Okay, nothing is in apps. Let's take a look. LSLA maybe. All right, so we're getting something here. We're getting some hidden folders in the apps file for the dev. And it looks like there's a Git. That's really interesting. Let's do, what can we do? I'm not too familiar with Git, but what we can do is a git help and figure out what Git is all about. And I'll show you on the screen what Git's about and why it's useful to know Git and how it works, but we're also going to run through it together here. So let's do this. We did a git help, and now here are the common git commands used in various situations. So let's see if there's a git command that we can use that will help us with the .git here. So let's take a look. Examine the history and state. See also git help revisions. Okay, so here's something. Show commit logs, show various types of objects, show the working tree status. So I'm curious about that. So let's do a git status. So let's clear it, keep it nice and clean, and let's do a git status and see what type of output that comes out with. In this case, it gave us a bunch of deleted files. So changes not staged for commit. Okay, and it's just showing us a bunch of CSS files, some JavaScript files, and some HTML files. Interesting. All right, let's clear it and let's go back to the git help and we'll figure out another command to run. Let's see here. Let's do show next. Shows various types of objects. Okay, so clear that. Git show. Okay, here we go. So we got something else. Author Dev Carlos. Okay, bug fix in the API port endpoint. So it looks like they subtracted the port for 5001, put it to 5000. All right, so I'm not really seeing any relevant information here. So let's clear that and go back to the git help and take a look at another one. All right, here we go. We got git log, show commit log. So let's clear and then go back and do a git logs. Whoops. It looks like a git log is necessary. All right, so this is promising now. So it's showing us a number of different git commits based on the times. Let's take a look at it. So let's just go down the list with the first one. Here's the commit. So this is the bug fix in the API endpoint. Actually, this was the first one we did. So let's copy this one and move down to it. Remove debug and update API port. So let's exit out of this. The way to exit out of this is hitting Q, and that will get us out of the git log. And now we'll do a clear, we'll do a git show, and now we're going to paste in that. And let's take a look at this git commit. Okay, so it looks like that was the same information. It was switching the ports around. Not seeing any relevant information. Let's go ahead and clear that again and then do git, what was it? Git logs. Nope, did that mistake again. Git log. Okay, so we did the first two. Let's take a look at the next one. This is the git commit, and this one says change API downgraded prod to dev. Interesting. To use development environment. Okay, so hitting Q again to get out of that, and then I'm going to clear it, git show, paste in that commit, and let's take a look at this commit now. Okay, so here's some returns. Looks like it's an email. So template mail message. Welcome to the team. So forth and so on. Let's see here. Your login credentials for our internal form and author site are username prod. Here we go. So we found some credentials for the user prod, and here is the password for that. So we're going to copy that, throw that into our notes, and now figure out if we can actually just do a su into prod maybe, and then paste in that and see if that works. And it did work. So we were successful with lateral movement into the user prod, and that's awesome. Let's go ahead and clear that and go from there. From here, let's go ahead and do a sudo L and see if there's any sudo privileges for the user prod. In this case, it looks like we do have a sudo privilege in running. It looks like a Python 3 script. So here's the script that it's able to run as sudo. And it looks like the star here is indicating that it's taking user input. So we're able as prod to run this particular script as sudo with an input that we're able to throw in. And it looks like, since I'm reading clone prod change, it's most likely some type of input where we can actually just copy something. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's cat into the file and see exactly what's going on with this and work through it. So here's the shebang. It's using the Python 3. It's importing a number of different things, and it looks like doing some type of cloning here. Okay, so the thing that jumps out to me is the fact that it's importing from Git the repo. Okay, importing from Git the repo. So we're on a Git theme, and it's importing from the Git repo. So let's figure out how we can work through this. We know it's using Python 3. So let's do a pip3 and see what commands we're able to do with pip. And again, I'll show you on the screen what pip3 is and how to use it going forward. But let's go through these commands and figure out how we can use pip3 with this Git and the repo. So here we go, commands, list installed packages. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the list, pip3 list. So let's clear this to keep it nice and clean, and then do a pip3 list. And let's take a look at that. Okay, so it gave us a bunch of output. Let's just start going down the list and pretty much not try to rabbit hole, but try to find something that stands out. So let's see here, command not found. Okay, Flask. Okay, here's the Git Python. So this is what stands out. Since we've been playing with Git around a lot, and we see the Git Python 3.129, let's copy that, throw it into our notes, and then scroll down and see if there's anything else related to Git or something else that may stand out that will help us priv-esc into root. So here we go, Python. Not seeing anything else. Okay, so it looks like that's the only thing, the Git Python 3.129. Okay. So I'm just going to copy that just in case again. Let's clear it. And from here, let's take a look and see if there's any vulnerabilities on Google that we can search and find. So let's do that now. All right, so let's go ahead and go into our Firefox and search through Git Python and see if there's any vulnerabilities. So I'm just going to paste in here Git Python 3.1.29, and I'm going to do vulnerabilities and see what's showing up. So here's a .nist. Let's go ahead and open that. The other thing I'm noticing is there is a GitHub RCE vulnerability, so that's pretty promising, and it looks like it's using this CVE. We don't want to use this script. We want to figure out how to do this manually. So let's take a look at this. Okay. So what was the 24439? Was that what it was? 24439. Okay. So 9.8 critical. All versions package of Git Python are vulnerable to the remote code due to improper user input validation, which makes it possible to inject a maliciously crafted remote URL into the clone command. Exploiting this vulnerability is possible because the library makes external calls to the Git without insufficient sanitation of input arguments. Very interesting. All right. So now that we know that, let's click in and let's take a look. Let's see if there's an exploit. So we're seeing here third-party advisory exploit. And we're going to click in, and it's by security sneak. And we'll go in here and take a look at this. All right. So here is the POC, the proof of concept. And let's take a look. So from git import repo. Okay, so it's cloning. And it looks like our clone from being injected with a reverse shell, an RCE, a remote code execution. Okay, very cool. Very cool. So let's go ahead and go back into our terminal, figure this out, and start crafting our RCE payload through this vulnerability that we discovered. So let's do that now. From here, let's go ahead and do another sudo L just so we can take a look at the script again. So we know that we're running this through sudo and we're passing in our information, but we need to figure out how we can tie in this script with this POC here. So it looks like they're injecting in their RCE right over here. And so let's take a look and see. So we know it's accepting user input and it's not being correctly sanitized. Here is the R clone from, and I'm assuming the URL to clone is where we're submitting our RCE. So, and then it looks like the new changes is where it's making its clone. So it's probably going to be the location that it's saving. So let's go ahead. Since we know that, let's actually do a script. Let's make a script for an RCE, and then we're going to pass that script into the URL and see if that works out. So let's do that now. We're going to clear it. We're going to start crafting the script. Going from here, let's go ahead and jump into our browser and take a look at the reverseshells.com. So we'll go into Firefox, and here we'll do revshells.com. And again, top right is where my VPN IP address is. And we're just going to fill in the IP in port here. Already have it in 10.10.10.14.2 with the 1234 port. And we're just going to stick to the SH, I think. Let's take a look back at that POC, that proof of concept. So they are using SH, but I kind of want to go with bash. So instead of here, the shell SH, let's try to see if it works with bash instead. So I'm going to copy this and we're going to go back into the terminal and create a new file now. So let's go ahead and do that now. I'll do a nano, and just in case, I'm going to throw it into the temporary folder, and we're going to name it shell.sh, and we're just going to paste in what we copied from the browser here. And let me take a look at that. That looks good. I'm going to save that with Control O, Control X to quit. And now that we have that, let's take a look at and see if it actually did create it. So I'm going to cat it, and it is coming back with something. Let's also do an ls on it as well. Let's see. So there we go. And just in case, we're going to chmod it, and there we go. So I'm going to show you on the screen what all these are indicating, but going forward, let's clear it now that we have the bash script. Then we'll sudo l again, just so we can take a look at it. And going through, so we're sudoing through the Python 3 this script, and then we're inputting our RCE in the input field there. So let's go ahead and start crafting our payload, our command now for the payload. So we'll do sudo, we'll paste that in there. And then here, let's go and check out that RCE from Sneak to see exactly what they're doing. Okay, so let's copy this. And paste that there. And here, let's do that. Set a touch, we'll do bash. Okay. So before we send that, let's go ahead and do a new pane, throw up netcat, and see if that works out. So I'm taking a look. Let's go back. All right, let's try send it and see what happens. Okay, so it's stalling, so that's good. And it looks like that worked out. We became root with that RCE, so that's awesome. And now we can cd home, oops, cd root please. And there is our root flag. So that's awesome. We can go ahead and copy that, throw that in, and that is how we got priv escalated to root. So let's just go through that one more time. So we sudoed and using the Python 3 script, and what we did here is we used the POC. We just copied this and changed it around a little bit and see if it worked, and threw it in here. And then what we did is we just did a reverse shell in the temp file for the shell. So it looks like that worked out for us and we became root. And that's it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.